So, one thing I think we can all agree on is that the balancing of Tower Heroes is not the greatest, but it's certainly not the worst, somehow. But it's pretty bad. So, I'm going to be showing you 3 towers today that dramatically need buffs, but the buffs are a lot more simple than people realize. Now, the first 2 we're looking at are Volt and Wafer. These 2 are just... they're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. I literally have Balloon Pal and Spec here for a reason, because, I mean, we're just gonna summon a good chunk of these guys, okay? So, Volt's thing, max hit 15, so basically the max his chain can go. And, the damage on Volt is horrific. Just horrific. Now, if we're just gonna watch these aliens slowly go by, alright? They're gonna wait for their impending doom by the Volts, okay? We're just gonna watch this front one right here, okay? We're gonna watch his health go down incredibly slowly. Now, you see the problem, you know, he's already exiting the range. He already exited the range. I don't know if you see this, but it still has literally half of its health left. And everything else behind it has above, like, almost 4,000, 5,000 health. How do you fix this? Well, it's simple. What I'm going to put up on the screen is what current Volt looks like on the left side. And on the right side is, which is right here, everything I'm going to do to fix him. Now, if you remember correctly, Old Volt was amazing. Old Volt was basically just really good damage, and it was just a good early game startup. However, I know they're not going to revert that, because even I will admit it was kind of broken for how cheap he was and how good he was. So, just increase the cost slightly on all the upgrades pretty much, while reverting back to the old damage. This will allow him to be an option for early game and mid game defenses, while still having a room for late game decks. It works. Another thing I need to point out is the rate. Now, the level 5 rate right now is technically 0.35. It used to be 0.3, which is stupid why they would even change that, because it wasn't broken. The rate wasn't the problem, it was his cost. It goes for the same thing for Bebo. Bebo's DPS is not the problem, it's the fact that he was so cheap to get and easy to use. That was the main problem with him. And they did fix that. However, they missed it entirely with Volt, and they have yet to change him since. And just a reminder, you have to beat Blast Tech on hard and buy him after you beat that, meaning that if it's an endgame tower that you get towards the end of the game, shouldn't it at least be half decent, if not good? Like, you know, why is Fracture better than him? Fracture is a starter tower. Why is he better still than this dude? Alright, so the next tower we're testing right now, it's going to be Wafer. Alright, so let me just pull up this screenshot for you guys real quickly. So this screenshot shows before and after Wafer. And as you can tell, nothing changed. Not one damage changed at all with this character. And do I even need to test this? Okay, I'm literally going to use the Blast Tech boss, like always, okay? Now, a good damage for this guy, okay, it's gonna be 30,000. 30,000 or more, it's a good tower, or it's meta. Pretty much is how this boss ultimately sums up. So, let me just show you how much he's gonna be hitting. So, as you can see, the problem is, you know, his damage drop-off is way too low. It is so low. Now, how am I fixing this? Well, it's another simple thing. Literally, just raise the damage. Now, I don't keep check with balancing in this game at all. However, here's the thing. They literally said they were just going to increase this damage when they didn't do it. So, if we're going off by them increasing their damage, then we're just going to increase the damage at this point, okay? His range and his rate are completely fine. So, on the left, here we go, alright? Normal Wafer. And on the right, here it is, alright? This is new Wafer. Now, you may see that the difference between the low and the high damage is a lot smaller, because that's what it used to be before it got nerfed into the ground. There was no problem with Wafer at all with any of this, and the reason why I made the minimum 61 is because of the DPS value. So, if we're going to compare DPS, Hot Dog Frank's DPS is 50 without a spec, okay? 90 divided by 1.8, 50, alright? That's your damage for Frank. Your DPS for Wafer is 50.8 if it's 61, okay? Now, with this new DPS value, he would still be lower than Scientist and Branch by a good chunk, but he would at least be usable if people just wanted to change up their decks a little bit or needed to cover more range. That's the point of this tower, is because of its high range, and the fact that it has a melee capability, it should be good. Now, for this next character, I have to go back to the lobby to change my deck, because the character's not in my deck right now, and I'm gonna have to try really hard to convince people that this character really needs a buff, and I'm gonna have to try and really test it, so people will understand that, yeah, this character does kind of need a buff. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm back, and as you can see, yep, it's Beatrice. Now, let me try and explain this one without triggering a lot of people. Beatrice, as you know, it's not really a good summoner by any means. Ignore this for a moment, but as you can see, the damage is 22 with a limit of 8, okay? Now, I know you have the Caster Bee thing, okay? You can activate it twice to get basically the max amount of bees. And, as you can see, the bees kind of have low health. Just kind of, just literally 10 health for 22 damage. So, at max damage, 220 per bee is just no. Like, oh god, no. That's really bad for 220 per bee is really bad, considering, remember, this character has range. Something that you shouldn't even have to deal with. But it has range. So, let me just explain this, okay? On the left, old Beatrice. On the right, new. Now, it's simple. I straight up double the damage. It's so simple. Because I had to try and balance it where, you know, Beatrice without my talkie could be an option. Just an option. But Beatrice with my talkie could be a lot better than what it already was, because remember, one, my talkie can only heal towers once now, so any kind of summon can only get healed one time, and that is it, okay? Now, the other problem is, you know, discount. However, discount is no longer a problem, because if you remember from a couple months back, they removed the ability on discount to increase the limit of summoners, specifically. And Beatrice is, well, a summoner, so I count it as balanced. So, as you can see right here, I have 2 Beatrices down, because since we're doubling the max damage possible for Beatrice, this is basically going to equal 88 damage per bee with the Spectre. And it works. It's just that simple. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go for the limited potential Beatrice, so with no abilities, and the max potential for Beatrice, which is with 2 abilities, which is actually going to be a really big difference. Now, the reason why I have Balloon Pal touching the Maitakis and not the Beatrice is because with Beatrice's range growing, that means the flight path of the bees will change as well, meaning they're going to be more farther out and away from the Maitake heals, which is not what you want. So if you can, try to space your Balloon Pal just perfect where it hits Maitakis, but it does not hit Beatrice in any way, so that way it has a higher chance of hitting pretty much almost all of the bees. It won't hit every single one. Like, for example, this one has still not gotten hit by it yet. But we'll wait. Okay? Eventually, it will get hit. Now, I know that it's going to be hard to test this because not every bee may get healed due to just flight path in general. However, if you need to, literally just do this, okay? You just go out here more. Have another thing, have another Maitake here, and then have another Maitake over here. And you can have 4 spaced out, and you can make it work for the most part. Now, I know it's going to be not 100% accurate for testing, because Maitake is going to do damage. However, to put it simple, Maitake at most can do about 3.2k with a spec, okay? And this is current Maitake. So, we're going to test against the Blast Tech boss, like always. Alright, he is just a simple boss for just getting easier numbers. Another thing that people forgot, or at least not many people know, you can actually spec boost the bees, where the bees will actually attack faster. It's very subtle, but it does work. So now, we're going to watch this guy pretty much get, not absolutely annihilated, but just... we're just going to see how much damage he takes from just one set of bees, okay? And as you can see, the damage is just... it's whatever. It's just whatever with maxed out bees, okay? But it's better than nothing. So it would have already killed the big alien, which is good. That's at least the prime target. Bees still have a decent chunk of health left. And we're going to see how low he gets. And so far, they're not doing the worst. I mean, everything's still got decent chunk of health left. Maitake thing is still going off. Now, the original way people would do this is you used to be able to just basically put down another Maitake, max it out, and then it would heal all these guys back at the max health. That, unfortunately, was removed because I guess they thought it was too overpowered, which it wasn't. Now, as you can see, 30k, alright. Now we're seeing how well you can do. Alright, remember, this is an endgame tower. It's supposed to be good. And as you can see, the bees are just getting close to dying out right about now, which means the damage is going to decrease and decrease and decrease. Beatrice is supposed to be a single target character. It's not meant for groups, okay? It's kind of like Wafer in a way, if that best explains it. And now we have to wait on this one elite bee, so that way this will count as full damage. And as you can see, almost 40k base. Now that is actually good. 40k base with all the bees. And keep in mind, those bees regenerate pretty quickly too. So while these bees are out here attacking these guys, it's gonna work. Now you have to remember, we have these. I'm just going to test this with 2 full abilities. Alright, so we're going to have to wait on this guy to hurry back up. So I'll see you when these cooldowns are ready. Alright, I am back, and I just activated these second abilities. Now we're going to give it a little bit to heal, but in the meantime, I'm going to be talking about why that double damage is going to matter. So basically, you're going to want this character to be essentially a good boss killer. Alright, it doesn't need to insta-kill the boss, but it needs to be good. Alright, this tower just needs straight up buffing, because if I have to use my Maitake to even use it, it's horrific. Now, if you just saw the damage numbers being about 40k, it's about 20k with 1B, meaning that it would probably not even kill a big alien boss, which is just... How can something that costs that much not kill a big alien is beyond me. But what we have here is about a 64k tower. Now, obviously, these damage may not add up fully because some bees may not get healed. And also, we have to worry about these guys. These guys literally don't do damage unless they get hit by the Maitake, okay? That is the only way. So, I guess in the meantime, we shall test it and see what happens. Alright, let's see how well Beatrice can really do. Alright, so the bees are already getting ready to die, and all that's left is some high-level elite bees. And as you can see, the damage is pretty promising, as you can tell. I mean, almost 100k is still good. So for 2 abilities that you're activating, you're getting about 90k. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. That's actually what it's supposed to be. That should definitely be what it's supposed to be if it's a tower that costs 60,000 to max. Now, remember, I don't know if many people realize this, but remember, bosses are the only thing that spawns, alright? Remember, ads also spawn, alright? Additional enemies will also spawn in and can slowly kill off your bees. So, the best thing to do is, this is probably not a solo character to use, but rather a multiplayer character to use. And, I mean, as you can see here, it's not doing too hot. Yep, even if I activate the ability, it's still gonna crumble horribly. And, as you can see, it's gonna kill some of them, but it's not gonna end up killing all of them. As you can see, they're gonna get out of the range to go target the other guys. It's just gonna leave this mess up here in the front. It's just not gonna be a good look. And this is why, basically, for Beatrice, the best thing to do is to have it further back. Now, on short maps, like Graveyard, that's not possible. However, on pretty decently large maps like Naughties and, you know, to a certain extent, raid maps, you can make the best of this. You basically can put the Beatrice in the middle, while most of your other defense can be a little bit more towards the front. And then you can have your team coordinate, you know, put Beatrices, like, right here, and then just have your entire defense, like, way up here or something. And you can make the best out of it. And, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to share. Are they gonna get buffed? No. It's just a little bit of suggestions that I thought I'd just come out and say for once. So, that's all I need to tell you guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.